Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having a great start to your week. I hope that whatever it is you're out here trying to do in the world, the imprint that you are desiring to make, that you are progressing toward it. Remember that it's about progress as much as it is about the goal. It's about every step being celebrated and appreciated because it moves you closer. Don't discount the small progressions, the incremental steps that you're taking in your journey to become whatever it is that you're desiring to do. There are going to be setbacks, there are going to be pushbacks, there are going to be disappointing moments. But every time you take a step, celebrate it. Congratulate yourself. Feel good about your movement. To me, that is the definition of success, the progressive movement towards a worthwhile goal. And every day you should be experiencing it at some level. I'm going to always find something new to learn every day. That's my thing. Learn something every day, because if I learn something every day, I'm not the person that woke up. I'm somebody different. I've learned something. I've gotten a little bit more knowledgeable in an area. I've become a little bit more aware, which gives me greater capacity to do the things that I desire to do in this world. It's been a journey of incremental growth over time that has placed me in the position that I am now, and that gives me this great hope of what I am to become. And you're no different. You have no less of an opportunity to impact the world than me or any other person that you may be aware of or. So hold your head up. If you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. Real quickly, I was asked by multiple people through comment sections and emails and a bunch of other stuff to extend this offer. So I've extended it to today. The 7-day online business launch course, which is one of my most popular courses, but it's also a course I really truly believe in because it's a mechanism of helping people create revenue streams that they don't have, but they can create it and they can control it and they can expand it and they can reuse it over and over again. And yesterday, maybe the day before, I announced that for those people who register for the 7-day online business launch course, which is an online course itself, but it teaches you how to create online businesses and launch them in 7 days from the moment you come up with the concept until you actually collect your first payment. If you sign up for that course today, you will get the Mind Unleashed course, which is so important in developing a winning attitude and a winning mindset and creating the proper habits and behaviors that lead to success. Success is about following patterns and doing the things that successful people do. Well, the Mind Unleashed is a course that gives you that. You're going to get that absolutely free. At first, we were charging $27, which is a major discount because it's a $599 course, but you're going to get it free. The big thing is until tonight at 11:59, you're going to also get the 18-month Path to Generational Wealth course, which is a course it took me years to do research and interviews and everything else to gather the knowledge of the brilliant minds who are winning at this game at the highest level and put it in a course. And that course is regularly priced at $2,595, $2,600. And you will get that course absolutely free when you sign up for the 7-day online business launch course, which is a way to generate revenue. That Path to Generational Wealth is about turning revenue into wealth and protecting that wealth and passing that wealth down. And it is extremely comprehensive. So I encourage you to take advantage of this offer. Again, I extended it because people were saying, hey, I need a little more time, whatever. And I really want people to do it. But it will come down at 11:59 tonight. So if you're serious about earning extra income or changing careers or moving in a different direction, you want to take the 7-day online course. If you want to really set you and your family up for long-term success, you will definitely benefit from the Path to Generational Wealth course. And everybody needs to understand the power of the mind, which we'll kind of venture off into in this session of Transformational Tuesday. Now moving on in. Today is Tuesday, so it's Transformational Tuesday. Those of you who have followed me for any time know that one of the things that I'm real big on is personal engagement and intentfulness, or being deliberate about how we change. Change is inevitable. Change is coming. You don't get to stop change, but what you can do is impact the change in your life by being intentional about how change happens. Being intentional about your growth. Your growth is what's going to determine your capacity to do the things that you want to do in your life. And you need to be intentional and deliberate about that. A lot of people are simply moving and flowing with whatever it goes. The ebbs and flows take you wherever you're going. You're either highly emotionally driven, or you tend to move along with what the status quo is. This is how everybody's doing it, so this is how I'm doing it. Or, man, it's going this way today, man, it's going that way today, and you're up and down. I want to talk to you about a part of transformation, which is focus. Now, normally I would probably do this on a Focus Friday, but I want to talk about transformation in the way that we control it. I want to introduce you to, on a very surface level, but something that can give you a true understanding of how your brain works. Your brain is the most powerful supercomputer on this planet. It has the ability to process billions of bits of information per second at a subconscious level. Even your conscious has the ability to process 2,000 bits of information per second. But obviously 2,000 bits versus billions is a big difference. And so what you have is this brain that has this unbelievable ability to do three basic functions that determine how you experience life. That is distort, delete, and generalize. So we tend to generalize everything. That's why we end up in this space where we'll take an experience and turn it into a total reality because we generalize. And that comes actually from what I call cognitive lethargy, or being cognitively lazy, not want to really break down and sit down and look and ask the right questions about an experience. You know, what does this mean? Am I viewing it in the right way? Could that be another way to view it? And we look at this and we see it, and we tend to just take our emotions at face value. We tend to take our emotions at face value, and then that becomes our reality for the moment. And then ultimately, if we don't correct it, it'll cascade. But what happens is we look at the brain, and the brain has this ability to process things. And look, so you say the conscious. The conscious is the things you're constantly aware of, right? So if you're listening to me right now, you're probably conscious to the fact that of what I'm saying, or at least most of it, you're taking it in. There are things going on around you right now that consciously you're not paying attention to. Now that I've mentioned it, you're probably picking up on a few things that's going on. The birds chirping outside, the cars passing, the AC running, a bunch of things that you tone out. I'll give you a prime example. Used to drive people crazy when I was working in the old house. Had my office in the old house. I would do videos, and the smoke alarm would chirp, and it would drive people crazy. They'd be in the comment boxes, change the battery. And what they didn't understand is there were multiple smoke alarms in that house. And no matter how many times you change them, it always seems to be one that was going out. And so what happens is, after hearing it a few times, the brain says it's not important. And what does it do? It moves it, or it deletes it, or it puts it in a place where your conscious isn't aware of it anymore. So it's chirping, but you don't hear it. Now, everybody else that's not familiar with it, their brains are actually chirping in on it because it's interrupting a train of thought that they're trying to intercept. And the brain does that. So the brain has the ability to delete. Now, what you'll find is the people who are happy all the time, what they tend to have trained their brain to do through experience or through actual hard work is they've trained their brain to delete the things they don't like. What does it mean? It means that the brain doesn't give it a lot of attention. The subconscious mind as well isn't giving it a lot of attention because the brain has not given it any influence. Because remember, the conscious mind can only process 2,000 bits of information per second. You've got billions flowing through your subconscious. There's no way your conscious mind can see all that, feel all that, take all that in, process all that, and you manage it. You would literally lose your mind. So what happens? The brain determines what's important to you. Your conscious mind, by focusing on things and giving it a sense of value, will tell your subconscious mind through your reticular activating system, which is a bundle of nerves at the base of your brain. It filters out what's important. That's how you go buy the car. And then when you get home and you're on your way home, it seems like everybody's driving the car you just bought. No, they were always driving it. It just wasn't important to you, or your brain didn't perceive it as being that important until you went out and spent money on it, which told your brain it was important. All of a sudden, you're excited about it emotionally, and now it has risen in area of ranking in your thoughts. So now you see it. Same thing with the shirt you bought, the purse you bought, whatever. That's how that works. So, but what happens with people who are happy, they've trained themselves to focus on the things that they're grateful for the things that make them smile, for the things that bring joy, for the things that open up doors. They're looking for answers. They're looking for solutions. They're anticipating something good happening. Those are the things they're focusing on. The other things in their lives are happening. That's one of the things I try to get people to understand when I work with people, is that nobody has this life where nothing goes wrong. You see them smiling, it doesn't mean that they have this perfect life and nothing goes wrong. You see them always in a jovial state or highly ecstatic and happy about. It's not that they don't have moments that come. It's that they've chosen to delete the things that make them unhappy. And in that deletion, it's not an elimination. It's a deletion from a list of what's important. It's not important for them to find the sad things. Now, it may be something they need to deal with, but they deal with it, but they don't give it the power. Remember what I told you over and over again. I've been telling you this: whatever you focus on, you feel. If you give your attention to the things that are harming you, hurting you, making you feel low, you will consistently feel low. You will consistently feel overwhelmed. You will consistently feel defeated. And that will perpetuate itself in every area of your life until you'll start to generalize. Again, we generalize our experiences rather than breaking them down and looking at them for what they are. This is a moment in time. This is not my entire life. This is a moment in time that will pass. It will pass. And what I can do is expedite the time that it takes to pass by focusing on the positive, focusing on the solution, focusing on anticipating what it's going to be like when I come out of this thing. But see, the distortion part of the brain will take something and make it something that it's not. Again, be careful of how you frame your experiences, because I lived it. I'll give you an example. Case study, me. Late 20s, I had just lost my great-grandfather, who was my adopted father. Literally, I still 30 plus years later wake up at times crying. That's how much this man meant to me. His absence has been devastating. And it's 30 plus years later. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. It's amazing. But this guy, was just unbelievable. He passed when I was 25. And I'm here and I'm looking at it and I'm trying to get through it in my late 20s. Now, I've had a pretty good life, man. I'm learning things. I've got a mentor who's taught me some things, and things have been pretty good. You always have these things going on, but things are pretty. All of a sudden, I hit this bump after I lose my grandfather, and it's like everything's going wrong. Everything's going wrong. Nothing's going through. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening, and I can't get it. And so I call my mentor, and I'm having a conversation with him. And about 20 minutes into the conversation, he says, "I already know what's happening." I said, "Man, what do you mean?" He said, "We haven't been on the phone but maybe 20 minutes, and you've said I can't win for losing at least 4 times. You've framed your experience as an inevitable loss. Your behavior, your mentality, your attitude, your energy is going to reflect that. that's going to have an impact on the outcome of your life. You're killing your opportunities with your mindset. Like, damn. But it's exactly what was happening. I had taken the hurt that I had, internalized it, didn't properly frame it, made it a generalization. Everything in my life sucks now because I lost my grandfather. No, I lost my grandfather that hurt, and that sucked. But everything in my life didn't suck, but I generalized. That's what the brain does when you have cognitive lethargy. If you don't take time to ask yourself one question, every time you deal with something that makes you uncomfortable, you need to ask yourself one question. What does this actually mean? And then when you ask yourself that question, other questions follow. When you ask yourself, what does it mean? Then you can sit up and say, am I processing it correctly? Am I interpreting it correctly? Am I overreacting to it? You've got to ask yourself these things. Why? Because the natural response is to feel and then behave and process based on the feeling, and not make use of this unbelievable brain we have to actually break down the situation, make it make sense, and then deal with it. Now, everything in life won't make sense, but a bunch of things we just tend to generalize. We distort it through improper framing and contextualization. Then we sit up and we generalize it when we actually should be deleting it. And when I say delete, I mean move it down the list, move it out of your conscious framing. Let your conscious focus on the things that can bring you joy. Let your conscious focus on the thing that can bring you happiness. Let your conscious focus on the thing that can change your financial situation. Let your consciousness focus on the things that can build stronger and better relationships. You should actually be focusing on the things that make you better. And this is something that I've had to work on myself with over and over the course of my life. And so I had this unbelievably challenging year, starting about this time last year, well, really April of last year, had this real challenging situation. And what I could have done is I could have played the victim card. What I could have done is I could have stood up and said, oh, woe, it's me. What I could have done is become intensively and severely critical of myself. What I could have done is a bunch of different things. What I decided to do is say, look, in this thing, I'm going to grow. What does it mean? Is it the end of the world? Because that's some things that will happen in your life that you'll feel like, oh my God, I can't go on. And you ask, is it really the end of the world? Or am I sitting up and I'm framing it wrong? This is the question you ask yourself. This is what you have to make your cognitive conscious mind understand. Where are we at? And then what you do is you train yourself through different practices, affirmations, journaling, guarding your self-talk, processive thinking, transformational vocabulary. You train yourself to focus on the positive and delete the negative. You're not ignoring what's going on that needs attention. You're simply not giving it the power to be the dominant force in your life. And when you make up in your mind that this is not going to be the dominant force in my life, then it automatically gets the proper processing force or energy, because now it's not this thing. When you sit up and you see something negative and it becomes the most prevalent thing, it becomes overwhelming. It creates anxiety. It creates stress. It creates a fight or flight response when there's nothing to fight or run from. That then you start living with chronic stress. Now your health starts to fail. Now you're stressing about your health starting to fail. And that's the cycle, because you gave power to a temporal moment in your life that didn't deserve that much energy. So you've got this brain that is capable of distorting things, deleting things, and generalizing things. The deletion thing is a thing you want to utilize right. The distortion thing you want to correct. You want to give proper framing. You want to ask the questions. What does it mean? Am I overreacting? Is there a solution? And the answer to that question is always yes. It might not be readily available or presenting itself to you at the moment, but it always exists. Before you ever realized there was a problem, the solution existed. And you have to understand that. What am I focusing on? Don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution. But you got to also understand that the brain will distort things, just place so, especially when you allow yourself to be emotionally driven. When you allow yourself to be emotionally driven people are people who have these highs and lows. You'll see them and they're extremely high, and then other times they're extremely low, and they are easily offended. Why? Because they are driven by their emotion. That the old-fashioned term is they wear their feelings on their sleeves. So everything offends them. The thing is, you've got to get out of that. You've got to get to a point where your emotions are what they're meant to be, an indicative mechanism to alert you to a current reality. If I'm angry, it normally means that I've been wronged in some way. If I'm sad, it means I've experienced loss. And on down the line, there are these different emotions from the lows to the highs, and they have meaning. Once you get the meaning, you interpret it and you ask yourself, am I overreacting? Is this emotion at this level appropriate? Or am I overreacting? Am I being led by my emotions in a way that's going to put me in a situation where I'm going to make a choice or a decision that's going to come back and bite me in the butt? And that's what we do consistently. We allow our emotions to put us in situations where we overreact, we make decisions and choices, we say things, do things that we later regret because we didn't manage our thought processes. We didn't take them. And the thing is, as powerful as your brain is, it's yours. It shouldn't be ruling. It should be responding to the way you demand it by way of conscious mind and subconscious. And that means you have to program your mind and your subconscious to show your brain how to react to things. This is a responsibility. And the problem is most of us are so trained to be emotionally charged that everything is about this. That's why when I get people who are a part of the Christian faith and they come to me and they're talking to me, and there's a cycle going and they don't even realize it's going, and it's been going for years. Here's the cycle. I go to church, pastor preaches, gives this unbelievable word. I get emotionally charged. I get emotionally excited. I call it motivation, but it's actually just being emotionally charged. And then what happens? I go out, and by the end of the day, Monday, I'm burnt out off of the emotion because emotions don't have longevity or endurance. They're not meant to be the force that drives you. They're meant to alert you to something and then challenge you to use your skills, your experience, your wisdom, your ability to reason and work out things to come up with the solution, the answer, or the response. But when you are literally hoping that your emotions are going to get you there, it's not emotion that's going to get you through the week. It's proper processing and discipline that will get you through the week. But what happens with these people with this cycle is they go to church, pastor preaches them into this emotional stupor. They get excited. They say, I can. God's got me. And then they go out on Monday. And because they didn't process the message right, it's not that necessarily the message was wrong. It's that they only took it at the emotional level. They didn't take on the idea of, I've got to break this down. I've got to analyze this. I've got to get out of this cognitive lethargy I am and actually get beyond the emotion of getting excited about it. And now see what I can do with what Pastor gave me. How can I apply this to my life? And that's a systematic step-by-step process of transformation. It's not an overnight experience. But what happens is because I'm only caught up in the emotional charge, this is what happens. I get addicted to the emotional charge and I start crashing about Monday or Tuesday because emotions don't have the ability to be that. You can't stay mad at an intense level that long. Your emotions aren't meant for that. Your emotions are meant to alert you. Then when you figure it out, the emotion starts to subside and you start to respond. But when you're trying to ride an emotion, you can only go as far as the emotion will take you. Then you bust. You go out there, you go to a job you hate. You go dealing with a boss you can't stand. You got coworkers that get on your nerves. You got out by the end of the day on Monday, you're already, man, I can't wait to get back to church. Why? Because that's the place you feel good, but you haven't put two and two together. It's not the emotional message. It's just the emotional charge you're addicted to. You need to pay attention to the message. You need to be listening to what you can do to change your situation. Maybe you don't need to be at that job. Maybe it's time to pick up and take that faith that you keep talking about you have and apply it to moving towards something different in your life. But that requires what? Faith. That requires trust in the process. That requires risk. And most people won't do that. Most people will ride that emotion, get wore out. Man, I can't wait to get to church. By the time Saturday to get there, you're already laying out your clothes for tomorrow because this is the day. And you're going to go, you're going to have fun. You're going to do all the things that people do on Sunday, and it's going to be a great day. You're going to go out Monday, and you're going to be excited. This is going to be different. And it turns out to be the same thing because you didn't change. It's about transformation. So, look, I want to encourage you. Pay attention to what you are processing, how you're processing it. Train your brain to delete the things that make you unhappy, the things that provide stress and anxiety. Train your brain to push them to the side and to focus on the things that bring you joy. It's not that they don't exist. The deletion isn't an elimination. The deletion is a movement off of one disc, your conscious, onto another disc, the deep subconscious, underneath the things that bring joy. It still can be dealt with when it's time, but what it allows you to do is have a mind that has the right level of focus, the right level of energy, the right direction that's going to get you to the places that you need to be in this world. So on that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out here. As I said early on, I want to remind you one more time, today is the final day. I was asked to extend this offer for the 7-day online business launch course. And the offer is you get the course, but you also get 2 courses free. You get the Mind Unleashed course, which really deals with a lot of what I talked about today. It's a $599 course. You get that free. And you get the 18-month Path to Generational Wealth course, My Labor in Love, something it took a long time to put together, but that course is $2,595. You're going to get that free. That ends tonight at 11:59 p.m. And it will actually end. I extended it because of the demand to extend it. People said they need a little more time. This is it. If you don't get it, something else will be out there later. But this offer to get the Path to Generational Wealth course, to me, that's a life changer. It's an 18-month course. It's like taking a master's in life change in finance. It doesn't exist anywhere else. You can't get it. The people who are taking finance classes and getting Series 6 and Series 7 licenses don't have this total package. This is the big time winners' brains as I picked them over the years and put it into this course. It's worth every penny, and you're going to get it for free by signing up for something else you really need, is the ability to create your own streams of revenue despite whatever else is going on. And you can do it even if you don't have a product or service and know exactly what you want to do. There's something you can do right now to be earning money online, and you'll learn this in this course. With that being said, look, as I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. And I'm challenging you to do the same thing. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.